Hi, I'm Dr. Anthony Raimundo. This is Theater 101. This video is setting 2. In this video, like I mentioned in the previous video, that we're going to look now at your setting. Instead of the setting of a book or a movie, we're going to look at your setting because where you live, what your neighborhood is like, is going to have an effect on who you are. For example, I've shown you some pictures with storefronts that have steel gates on them. Now, why do they have steel gates? Well, the answer is simple. Because the store owner doesn't want someone breaking in to his store to, to rob and steal and loot. Now, recently in Portland, there's been a lot of breaking of windows, looting and stealing rampantly. Now, if you're watching a bunch of people run into a break a window and run into a store and start gathering things, you may run in there and gather some things too. So your community, your environment is now kind of dictating how you should act. So if you see that stealing is okay, then you may become a thief. If, excuse me, if a number of your friends are prostitutes and they say to you, I'm making $300-400 a day, and I'm making $2,000 a week, easy. You could do that too. And if you're tempted because of the big money, you're likely to join in and have that same career. So if you're coming from a rundown neighborhood where there's very little opportunity, you may end up in some form of criminal activity. You may also begin to resent people that live in a better community, thinking that they did it to you, as if a rich person comes down to a neighborhood, breaks a window to steal something. That's not what's going to happen. Now, on the same token, maybe you live in a decent community. So you're likely to want to go to school, get an education, to improve yourself, because the people around you, the community around you, are people who do this. For example, in Essex County, New Jersey, the city, the community with the highest level of positive test scores for children taking New Jersey statewide exams at the end of the year, or at the end of the year, is Millburn, New Jersey. Now, I've checked the demographics on why is that. Well, it turns out that in Essex County, in Millburn, they also have the highest percentages of parents with college degrees. So there you have it. You have a community where most people are professionals and they teach their children, or their children are watching their parents and they follow suit. So your setting has a lot to do with what you learn and what you do. Now, if you lived on a ranch and people rode horses and raised cattle, then you're going to know something about cattle raising that myself, in New Jersey, doesn't have a clue, because I'm not in that environment. So your environment helps you to be who you are. That's why, on a Christian standpoint, It pays to go to church. It pays to read scripture. It pays to be involved in prayer groups. And why? So that you have Christian support on what it is to be a good, righteous Christian. You need that kind of fellowship to be able to improve and live a righteous lifestyle. Now, that's not to say that someone who is living in a poor neighborhood, if they do the same thing and fellowship with others in that same community, then they find ways of getting out of poverty. Also, if you're in that position and you're going to school and maybe you meet somebody who comes from a better neighborhood, you share or you ask questions on how can I improve, so that anyone who's living in a poverty-stricken neighborhood doesn't have to remain there, doesn't have to be a thief, doesn't have to do criminal activities to get out and improve themselves. By study, by reading scripture, by fellowshipping with other Christians, you can get out of that setting. So whatever setting you're in, that doesn't mean you can't get out of that setting. And that's the reason why we have Christian communities in all facets. Because now you could be someone living in a very wealthy community and have no Jesus at all. Why? Well, because, hey, I got everything I need. Look, I live in a mansion, my father's wealthy, and I got a big trust fund. I got everything I need. I got a fancy car. Hey, everything's cool. But in the meantime, you got no Jesus. You got no spirit life. So you could be wealthy and have no spirit life, or you could be poor and have no spirit life. So your setting still has a way of dictating your behavior. So in either case, rich or poor, you need fellowship and community with other Christians. You need to have that type of a setting. So church becomes important. Prayer groups become important. Doing activities, helping other people in your particular environment helps to change the setting, helps to evolve that neighborhood, that community spiritually. Now, I have some readings with this session. Some of them deal with how environments affect your behavior. And I've also listed, you'll find a file with some verses from the Bible about community. And I want you to think about, for homework, what you need to do to improve your neighborhood. What do you need to do as an individual in a particular setting to improve yourself? What do you need to be better in that setting? That's what I would like you to think about, so that now we're taking the elements of a story, the elements of a narrative, and also applying it to our personal life. So reflect on that. And I'll leave you with something. St. Francis of Assisi was a monk, and he went out and he did lots of charitable things. And one of the things that he said was that if your behavior doesn't demonstrate your Christian beliefs and the type of life that you would like to live, being righteous, and you're sharing those experiences with others, And if they don't get it, that's when Francis said, then you can use words. So your actions within that community speak louder than words. God bless. Until next time.